Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Patrick, and this is the Hierophant. Okay, so I was playing around, not playing around, but shuffling up the Oracle cards, and the third eye portal came out, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So I was like, okay, I'll keep it. Don't even know where this card came from, but she's also there. So, one moment. And I haven't looked at the bottom of the deck yet either. So, here we go. Alright, so Reflective Truth. Reflective Truth is a card that just came out in a series of cards that came out. Um, it was Isolation with Magical Realms in reverse, and then Breakthrough, Utopia. No, Breakthrough, Awakening, Utopia, and Reflective Truth. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot. So this is Vision, Clairvoyance, and Clarity and Confusion is the third eye portal. And then the card that came out face down is Wisdom. I love how Wisdom just keeps making an appearance. Wisdom number 44, Psychic, Intuition, and Truth. We're gonna keep this Wisdom backing this third eye energy. And we're gonna read Wisdom first. I don't know why. I just feel like we should keep Wisdom on the table. So, because she wanted to make an appearance. So hey, we're open to switching it up. Bottom of the deck is Destiny, number 9, Divine Purpose, Passion, and Service. I love that. So the bottom is Destiny. Wisdom is on the table. Again, it's like the confusion is a part of it. I didn't finish talking about whatever I was talking about yesterday, and I realized that maybe earlier today, I realized that I'd never finished talking about that, but I feel like there are certain. Well, I guess I kind of did finish talking about that, but I didn't get to what I was getting to with that. Which is that there are certain, I guess, things that we have to abide by down here, work through, learn through, and I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it just is what it is. Right? It's like even in some texts, in some holy texts, the people who eventually rise to prominence or get some kind of spiritual enlightenment, they all start as human. They all start in the system. They all start living the life that they're living because, we're all born into this world. So the confusion and everything else is sort of like inherent and innate to what's going on down here, but that's what makes finding your way home so touching or something. Okay, so we're going to be looking for, let's see what we got here. We're going to be doing Major, Minor, and Court. We have Vision, which is easily High Priestess. Clairvoyance and Clarity. I'm feeling Ace of Swords. And then Confusion would be the Seven of Cups. Major, Minor, Court. So we're going to do the High Sage, Ace of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Wow, this may actually not be that long today. May actually be able to keep this within one video. Bottom of the deck is the Sovereign of Coins, Queen of Coins, the Nine of Cups, and Temperance. So this is about really, like, I'll wait. This is like, I'll wait energy. Let's see. This is some I'll wait energy. Like, if it ain't what I want, then I'll wait until it is what I want. So, one second. Why am I pausing? What's happening? What's going on? I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's why. So, for the third eye portal, I'm actually going to take this deck as more aligned. The darker one. Because it's receiving the vision. I was initially going to go with this one because I was like, it's like seeing, it's perceiving, it's fire, it's this. But then I was like, wait, no, because this is able to perceive the truth. This is receiving everything as it is, and with the lighter deck, like if you already have a filter on things, you're not going to see it as it is. You're going to see it however it gets processed through that filter. So first we're looking for the High Sage. How are y'all doing today? It's the 31st of July. Is that not crazy to like anyone else? Because I thought like with everything being shut down, like time would pass so slowly. And at first it wasn't, but it was. It just, it wasn't as time wasn't passing as quickly in the beginning. Okay, now it's just like flying. I'm like, whoa, slow down. Like December is coming. I still got stuff to do. Hello. That'll be done, and the time's gonna be done. It's so weird, but I know that more and more, like every day. So, what am I looking for? The high sage. Okay. You know, I don't want to forget because I have a tendency to do that if I get a little lost. I'm going to timestamp in the description box when this video starts, or if you see another video titled, like, not pulling for or whatever, then that's the one that starts in. The last two have had lots of, I feel like, important messages coming up. Also, I went live on my Legacy channel last night, like I said I was going to do at the end of the video, right? And I think I kind of sort of reached a point that, it evolved past what I was saying at the end of the video, and it went somewhere interesting about how, with the way the systems have been set up on this planet for a minute, we've been sort of violating the freedoms and rights of others, encroaching upon their free will, and also we've been, here we go, work. Also, we've been we've been taking the consequence away from our actions. And so not only have we been breaking one of the rules, I guess, by, encroaching upon the freedoms of so many people, honestly, generationally at that, but then also by limiting and mitigating consequence, it's like that's a further sort of infraction upon how things are supposed to work down here. Right? For every action, there's supposed to be an equal and opposite reaction. And there's been some drastic actions taken with either an inappropriate reaction, or with like no reaction, or a mitigated or muted reaction. And so it's like there's a whole bunch of reaction that's been kinetically stored up, and it's reaching the point where that dam is about to burst. And so that's why, I don't want to say that's why, but that could be one of the reasons, one of the sort of things behind why everything is just kind of sort of falling apart right now. Not falling apart right now, but balancing itself, recentering, right? All right, looking for that high sage. Starting with the Ace of Coins, the Two of Cups, and the Seven of Coins. And then the Ace of Cups. That's interesting. This Five of Wands is in reverse. That's also interesting. What was it? Ace of Coins, Two of Cups, Seven of Coins, Ace of Cups. So we got all coins and cups. Very nurturing. A whole new world, building with someone that you care for, really growing it, and then coming into the love. It almost feels like something maybe could go from platonic to romantic, or just that these decks want to have reversals so bad. It's fine. I'm almost done. It's like something that started more physical, or something that started with a lot less water but then gets really watery towards the end. Maybe that is our understanding of the world, or our perception of the world. Maybe we only looked at it on the physical, with the only emotions being that sort of like that true love or whatever that everyone wanted, and in a world where everything else was about the physical, the material, what it looks like on the outside, and not what it feels like what it looks like on the outside instead of what it feels like on the inside. And that's why, I feel like so many people, or that's why so many people maybe bought into the like selling your happiness for whatever, Four of Wands and the Four of Coins together, right? It's like that Four of Coins reservation, but that Four of Wands celebration. And then it's just like, oh, well, this is how life is. You don't get to do what you want. You don't get to be happy. You work a job. You go home to your family that you don't even like. And then, you put up with it, right? You find a guy or a girl that you can marry. You tolerate each other. and blah blah blah. But then with that 7 of coins, it's like you sort of eventually reach the point where that no longer works. You have more seeds than you have water. And if you got more seed than water, some of those seeds are going to die, or all of the seeds are going to die if you can't water any of them enough. And so then that's when that Ace of Cups comes in. Like, man, there has to be more to life. Like, I want something more than just, you know, the things on the outside. I want something more than just, the money and the cars and the family. Like, I want love in this family, right? That's why some people say that, like, the Ten of Pentacles, because I always thought the Ten of Pentacles was like the love, the family, and the stuff. So I was like, I'd rather have 10 Pentacles than 10 Cups, because, like, you kind of get the 10 of Cups. But the danger of the Ten of Pentacles when it gets dry is, like, it's just emotions, right? It's like when the love has kind of sort of exited the relationship because you don't spice it up, you don't tend to it, right? You're always at work, or you're always doing this, or you're always doing that. You're more focused on the things outside of that relationship than the person that you're in the relationship with, or the people that you're in the relationship with. And then things run dry. But the Ten of Pentacles is like, well, it's like a well-oiled machine by that point. And you're not going to give up your comfort, so you just sacrifice the lack of love. Then maybe people end up with infidelity or other kind of issues or something. I don't know. So now we're going to be looking for the Ace of Swords for this clairvoyance and clarity. We're starting with the Magi and the Hermit into the Ten of Cups. So the Magician, the Hermit, and the Ten of Cups, that's someone realizing, again, that they can't do it alone. But I guess there's a certain amount that you have to do on your own before it really works with someone else. Wheel of Fortune and Temperance. It's like, you gotta wait for the wheel to turn. You gotta wait for the wheel to turn. But I think it's more than just waiting for the wheel to turn. Honestly, it's doing whatever you need to do to put yourself in the position to receive whatever you're gonna receive when that wheel's that turn. Right? It will keep on turning, turning. Now the High Sage is next to Justice. Oh snap. Oh snap. Oh snap. Let's get into this. Oh, who is this? We got the Ruler. So the Ruler of Wands and the Ruler of Cups. I've been seeing Wands and Cups together for a minute now, and I'm pretty sure the Ruler of Wands and the Ruler of Cups are always together. Not always together, but I feel like they frequently end up together. And now they're next to the Hierophant, so that's interesting. Well, I guess so. They're not necessarily kings in this deck; they're just rulers. So, right, but we have the Ruler of Cups and the Ruler of Wands with the Hierophant. You have the Key of Gold, the Key of Silver, the Key of the Sun, the Key of the Moon, the Key of Water, the Key of Fire, coming together to... It's like when they work harmoniously, then the bond between them can create worlds, right? How the earth rises out of the water, and how it's like the earth rises out of the water, the evaporated water becomes the air, and then the sky and the sun is the fire outside of the system or something. I don't know. It all come from water and fire. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And that Hierophant is these two energies finally working together to create something new and harmonious. I'm like, girl, why these cards be so close to the top of the deck? The Sun is with the Fool and the Six of Coins. Love that energy. The Hanged One is with the Ace of Cups. Oh snap. We done found our card, y'all. We done found our card. That's really interesting. For clairvoyance, that's all this. That's what I was saying, basically. I already said that over here, so I guess we can stop here and I can make this a 2-minute video. Let's see. We're looking for this Ace of Swords. See, I think if it's closer to the top of the deck, it's actually a good thing. Because it's like the bottom of the deck is a subconscious influence. The top of the deck is a conscious influence. And so it's like on the tip of our consciousness over here. But that's also more aligned energy, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But anyway, now we're starting with the Five of Cups, the Ruler of Cups, the Ten of Coins, and the Ruler of Coins. The Five of Cups, the Ruler of Cups, that's feeling lonely, isolation, crying over spilled milk. It's like missing out on opportunity. Honestly, this energy is like being hardened by heartache and coming into the area where you want to shield yourself. But again, I feel like with this Ten of Coins and the Ruler of Coins, it's like even if you get that Ten of Coins, if you're sort of like if your emotional foundation is based upon betrayal, heartache, things that you missed out on in the past, being forever alone and stuff like that, then even when you get this Ten of Cups, it's going to be dry. There's going to be no love in it. And with this Ruler of Coins, it's like you're fine with that. The Ruler of Cups is fine with never being emotionally satisfied. The Ruler of Coins is fine with being sort of physically wealthy as long, yeah, it's being, the Ruler of Coins is okay with being physically wealthy even though like you're sort of lonely or empty or whatever. Then we get the Lovers into the Ten of Swords, into the Six of Swords. So it's time to bring some love into the equation over here. We're looking for the Ace of Swords. You'll never see it coming. The Moon is with the Hierophant over here. Like, I was like, you know, we got both of the keys. We got fire and water working in harmony over here. The Moon is with the Hierophant over here. So that's hidden motives, hidden motivations. One person can't figure out the other person. One energy can't cooperate with the other energy. Because, again, it's like, you know, as long as I'm set, then the emotions don't matter. And it's like, okay, work. The Hermit is with the Chariot and the Anchor and Strength. The Hermit, loneliness. The Chariot, moving forward alone. The Anchor is that Emperor. And then Strength, that's the foundation. That's the energy of like that whole narrative. It's interesting that it's so much of this is like hearty, like heart chakra-y. But that's the energy of like, you know, that like success comes with some sort of sacrifice to whatever. That's that whole like it's lonely at the top thing, but it's lonely at the top because of the things that you've chosen to sacrifice and because of how you define success. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. So over here we got the Sovereign of Cups with the Sovereign of Wands. So the Kings of Wands are together over here. The Queens of Wands are together over here. Y'all probably won't be able to see these. But we got the Sovereign of Cups and the Sovereign of Wands together. Oh, maybe. And what comes out after those is the Seeker of Cups. So trying to find that balance in this feminine way. But still, it's like on the inside you're trying to come into this. But on the outside, because that's what the ruler is. The masculine, like what you're actually doing on the outside instead of how you feel on the inside. Because over here on the outside, it was about collaboration. Over here on the outside, it's about you getting whatever you need to succeed. But on the inside, again, it's like you're starting to want more. It's like, what is all this money good for if, like, what's all this stuff good for if I don't have anyone, the devil with the star, to share it with? Into the Six of Wands. Ooh. It's like, what am I building? It's like the energy of like some kind of tycoon or whatever. Some Ebenezer Scrooge type character who you reach the end of your life. Your money isn't prolonging your life like maybe you thought it would. And then it's like, well, who do I even give all of this to? Like, what happens to this? I have no one to leave it to. It's like when you reach the end, you realize how much you actually don't have. Because you focused on things that you can't take with you. But it's like, you know, due to recent events, we've gotten the opportunity, maybe some of us, to think about stuff like that and not necessarily, again, have to reach the end of our lives to begin to focus on stuff like this. And, like, I'm sure there are, like, lots of lonely people because we've all been, okay, well, by this point in time, you know, people are going out, people are partying, going to the beach, doing all kinds of stuff. So maybe that was more so before than now. but I think those feelings are really coming now. The Magi and the Hanged One are still together. That's like that waiting period of everything that you want and understanding how important that is. I think it's really interesting that the Ace of Swords came at the top of the deck, or really close to the top of the deck, really close to the top of the deck both times. I think that's interesting. Because, I mean, I don't mind that it's that high up, but then I'm like, did I miss it? I hope I didn't miss it. But if I miss it, I miss it. Ooh. Yeah, I really think I'm going to be able to just do this all in one video today, which is amazing. Oops. Undo that booty scooty. Scoot that booty and do that booty scooty. So I was like, so on the preview, because I'm streaming with OBS, excuse me, I thought that, I wish it gave me like an elapsed time. I thought that, because like OBS is like 30 seconds behind, so I thought that when I hit live, it was showing that 30 seconds before I hit live, but then I just watched a bit of a video to see, and I don't think it does that. So now we're looking for the Seven of Cups. For confusion, yes. And then again, it's confusion because of a misconception, or because of extra perception, or because of a misperception, which is like a misconception. So we're starting with this Ruler of Cups. Oh no! What's at the bottom of the deck? Or the top? No, it's the Sun! The Ruler of Cups and the Ruler of Wands are no longer together. Oh, that's tragic. That's tragic. I was just talking about how y'all two were always together. And then you just gotta go and break up. Why? Why? Why couldn't you just stay together? It's fine. It's life. It happens. The Ruler of Wands and the Ruler of Cups are in a period of separation, so send them love and light and unity energy. Let me stop. Okay. Oh, wait. What's this? Oh, that's the Seeker. So the Conqueror of Swords tried to come out before the Seeker of Wands, I believe. Who this? Yeah. The Seeker of Wands, the Conqueror of Swords tried to come out right before. I think, honestly, yesterday with this card, I believe, or was it, no, with this one, yesterday, the Conqueror of Swords, that Knight of Swords he was on some sneaky stuff, trying to spread misinformation. There was like an agenda that he was spreading to get his way in a certain area, and now it's like, he's trying to precede the vision. He's trying to come in with the information before this Seeker of Wands even has an opportunity to dip its toe into whatever this realm is. It's putting a filter on it. It's putting that lens on it so that no matter what you see, it'll always be a shade of red or pink if I put some rose-tinted glasses on you. Or at least that's the hope. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, it'll probably... Oops. What am I looking for? The Seven of Cups. I think that's the 6. 5. These are like hard to read. Here we go. If like I don't get the angle right so that the letters don't like pop up. So at the bottom of the deck over here is going to be the Ten of Cups. We've actually seen the Ten of Cups a few times. Hold on, wait, where is it? Where at? There it is. There it is. So there we go. The Ten of Cups. I love this deck, but you know, sometimes she'd be like, I don't want to show up. I don't want to make an appearance. Like, they just gotta trust that I am what you say I am. These cards could be anything. Let me stop. Ooh, excuse me. I actually went to bed at a decent time last night. It was like midnight 20-ish. And I was like, well, let me go make me some of this chamomile and lavender tea just to make sure I'm extra like bed ready. And I was in bed before 2. It was like 1 something. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and go sleep. And I decided to wake up at 10. So I got my 2 hours in before noon, which is what I was on, instead of like getting up at noon or around noon. I'm really excited for tonight, if I'm being honest. If I'm being real honest, can't wait till like 11 o'clock hits. Low key, high key. Ooh, sorry. Anyway, so we're starting with. Oh, okay, girl, work. 7 of Cups is at the bottom of the deck, so there's only going to be 1 card. Oh wow. Okay. The 7 of Cups was at the bottom. Oh my gosh, no way. Oh, boo. I'm upset. I'm upset. Because at first, I didn't see this. So this is what I saw at first. I saw the 7 of Cups. I see it. Y'all can't even see it. Where it? Where is it? Hold up. Where is it? Here it is. Well, anyway, I saw the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Swords. And I was like, oh, because this is the 7 of Coins. So I was like, we had 777 at the bottom of the deck, but then there's a death card. The death card was hiding behind the 7 of Cups. So the death card is between the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Swords. So, but I was like, oh, 777. And then I was like, oh, well, there's death. So, you know. Death is, no, that's the tower. That's a 16-7. Death is a 13-4, I believe. I'm pretty sure death is 14 because the hanged one is 12. Okay, so let's get into this. Let me see what time I'm at real quick so I can mark this. 26 minutes! That is not bad. They actually decided to come out today. I'll say 26:55. So, hey, I don't know where this is going to fall because the recording is like half a minute behind me. But if you're joining me here today, then hi, my name is Patrick. This is the Hyperfish. Welcome. Today we're going to be looking at more or less the third eye portal, the third eye chakra. More aligned is going to be the darker one. Less aligned is going to be the lighter one. And that's because the third eye is all about perceiving the truth. It's all about receiving the vision in a way that is clear and accurate. And at first I was like, well, you know, our eyeballs look outside. So this should be more aligned, right? And when we look at light, it's like light is how we see things, right? Rods and cones in the eyes and those photoreceptor cells and whatever else. But then I was like, well, but if we're actually, because like we're taking in the light from the outside, and that is how we are perceiving. And so then I was like, so if we, if we take in all of the light, then taking in everything is the darker one. And I literally kind of sort of just went through that yesterday. So I guess, I'm glad I did, because then it gives me a context for today. 1 second. So, yeah, we're going to be reading the throat portal, or the third eye portal. I was shuffling up the oracle cards before I came on, because I shuffled before I come on. And then I shuffle more when I'm on. But the third eye portal, it dropped down. So I was like, okay, we'll just keep it. And this card was in reverse, and it's actually wisdom. We have destiny at the bottom of the oracle deck. So wisdom and destiny, like, to me, that's like an understanding of the way that things work, I guess. And seeing the lessons behind everything and how it's all sort of, it can all be used to our benefit if we allow it to, and it can all be used to our detriment if we desire it to as well. Wisdom is number 44. It is psychic, intuition, and truth. And I think, we have intuition and truth with the third eye and psychic with the third eye. So why not? I was like, it fits. So we'll keep it on the table. Then we have the third eye portal, which is number 39. It is vision, clairvoyance, and clarity, and confusion. 39 is a 12. And then we have this 13 death, or we had a 13 death that I was just talking about. So that's interesting. Because I was like, yeah, 12 is the hanged one. And then here's the 12 right here. And the thing about the hangman is, it's like the hangman has this third eye clarity of vision before It's like seeing through the veil, seeing beyond the mask is what the Hanged One can do. That's the enlightenment, or some of the enlightenment that it achieves. But it's seeing it before anyone else sees it. And that's why it's kind of sort of that oddball, that odd one out, that one who maybe, stops doing it before everyone else stops, and then they're like, oh my gosh, this is actually bad for you. So for vision, I pulled the High Sage, which is the High Priestess. For clairvoyance and clarity, I pulled around the Ace of Swords, and then for confusion, I pulled around the Seven of Cups. I'm going to read this in a second. The bottom of the lighter deck is the Seven of Cups. No, yeah. The bottom of the lighter deck is the Seven of Cups. So the card that I was looking for was actually the card at the bottom of the deck. And so that's why I only have one card here, because there was no card before it. There was no card that preceded. It's just that Seven of Cups. Over here at the bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups. Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah. Oh, let's see. Let's see if I can catch a ray, catch a glimpse, catch a gleam, catch a glimmer. Sorry. The Ten of Cups. And there's also a third eye. There's a third eye in both of these. So I want to make sure y'all can see these. So we're going to click this on for a second. Hi, yes, I know I'm wearing the same thing as yesterday. We ain't showered yet. We just woke up. And I showered like later yesterday. Anyway, so in the Seven of Cups, I don't know if y'all can see it, but there's a third eye up there. Yeah, I think you can. The third eye up there that is surrounded by thorns. Thorns restrict things, so that's a restricted vision at the bottom of the deck for a lesser aligned third eye, which I think is accurate. And then in this one, we also have a third eye, but it's focused on the higher star. There's a star up there, and then there's the third eye. So, and this third eye is surrounded. The third eye is on 2 cups, surrounded by 8 more cups. So it's the center of this 10 of cups. It's between these 2 stars. And yeah, so it's like it's free in this one, and it's not in the other one. And honestly, in everything that I guess you could consider pre-shuffle, it's like over here with lesser aligned energy. Honestly, it's been like where we prioritize our focus. It was like the priority was on coins. Coins, I was saying like that's more focused on money than the emotions behind something. That's when we sacrifice happiness for success and fame and fortune. And then it's like, that it's lonely at the top. No one, like everyone only uses me for my money and blah, blah, blah. No one actually knows the real me. They only know what they can get from me type of energy. But then it's like, if you prioritize all of that over the emotional things, then why are you surprised that you end up with all of that and no emotional thing? But also, I guess just looking at it, Pentacles could just symbolize the world, right? That could be prioritizing the outer external world over the inner internal world, and how you feel in your own emotions and your own sort of spiritual satisfaction and stuff like that. You got lost and consumed in the world, and so now you have this misconception of everything because you kind of sort of bought into the program, you bought into the lies, which is fine. I feel like a lot of people did, but now is us having the opportunity to come out of that as we literally see these systems crumble. And we're beginning to see maybe some of the interesting things or the discrepancies in it. And then there's this internal sort of acceptance that needs to go on with that, right? I don't know. That isn't necessarily particularly my story, so I don't have any personal advice to give you. But I would just say that it's all about moving forward, and it's more about moving forward than it is about what happened in the past. So anything that happens before, like destiny and wisdom, right? Like I literally just said, you can use it to motivate you to move forward in a different way, or you can be stuck in what happened and sort of continue to stagnate and limit yourself. So we're going to start over here, and then we're going to come over here. There's that little ball of phlegm or whatever. I can feel it sort of coagulating right now. But I was literally just thinking about it before I came live, because I was like, I wonder if that little ball of phlegm is going to try to pop up again. It doesn't happen unless I'm live. But then I thought about it and I was like, because yesterday I was like, oh, somebody need to work on their throat chakra because I'm tired of this. Um, but then if I think about it, I think the phlegm coming up is working on the throat chakra, right? Isn't isn't phlegm and mucus like your throat clearing itself out and then you like get rid of it? So maybe it's not bad. It isn't great feeling, but the significance behind it is. And so maybe that's this other mismatch, right? It's like don't focus on like the thing, focus on the significance of the thing. See the truth behind the truth of the thing, right? There it is. Ugh. And water ain't even got no flavor. I was about to grab some lemonade, but that's fine. Um, oh, I think somebody cooking something good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's begin, shall we? So when it comes to vision, the less aligned vision is we have, let's see, the Seeker of Wands and the Three of Wands. So the Seeker of Wands and the Three of Wands, that gives us four wands, right? And so I feel like I've been getting these little ticks lately here and there, and I don't know. It is what it is. The Seeker of Wands and the Three of Wands, that's the Four of Wands altogether, and Four of Wands is a card of milestone and celebration. So, and the Seeker of Wands is waiting for like your ships to come in. There are four coins on this. Coins symbolize, oh, I can't remember. But yesterday, coins are an enclosure, right? A coin is something, excuse me, a coin is something physical that it in of itself has little value most of the time, but it's backed by something else that has value. And so there's this separation between the currency up front and the actual backing behind it. And depending on what the price is, it determines the value up front, right? I feel like the only difference would be like if you have a gold coin or a silver coin or a platinum coin that's actually plated with or made out of gold, silver, or platinum, then it's like the coin backs itself. But now in currency nowadays, with paper currency and like all of this other currency, it's backed by something that is not it. So maybe in the past, you could have been like, okay, and it would have worked. But it's like now there's this distance, there's this disparity in worth and value, and you only know the worth and value of something when you look at the price of something else, right? And that's interesting because somebody yesterday was talking about how the value of a dollar is about to like plummet because of all of the money that was just pumped into the economy. And she's like, you're not going to see the depreciation of the dollar on the news. It's going to be when milk goes from $3 to $5 to $30 to $50. And then somebody earlier tagged me in how at the university that I went to, she was like, hey, like, is this is this still the way it is or not? Because I guess there's a petition at the university. They converted some double rooms into single rooms, and they're charging more than twice the price for the single room. But like all of the furniture is still in the double room as if it's a double room, and they can't take it out because there's nowhere to put this extra furniture. Oh my gosh! So it's like, again, it's like there's this sort of a disparity in worth and a lack of transparency. She was like, there was a lack of transparency, and if I would have known this, and there are some families who can't afford more than double, right? Because it's already fairly pricey, I don't want to say fairly pricey to mitigate the price. It's pricey. It's school in America. It's pricey, and then with this university, and like it blows. This university, I don't want to say they're money hungry, but a lot of what this university does, they do for money, like any business. At the top of the university is run like a business. Like any business, any corporation, any brand. And the person was like, well, my sister, like, usually they work with the students, and I know that because my sister went here, and I'm so shocked and appalled at this behavior. Like, this is very unlike this university. And I said, girl, I don't know who your sister is and what her experience was, but this is very much so on brand with the university, honestly. Maybe it didn't hit your sister because maybe she wasn't in a space that you're in now where the university came in and did something that, one second, that sort of, shifted and changed that. All right, I'm back. I forgot I got my little camera on. I don't know if y'all saw me back there getting some icebreakers. My mom came back. I was like, what's cooking? She said, who said anything cooking? Who said there's food? I said, I smell it. My sense of smell has just been like going through the roof lately or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Also, I think my vision is like getting a little better. My vision is improving. My sense of smell is improving. My sense of hearing is a little bit. I don't know if my sense of touch is, but it's like, I think my sense of touch also is. I don't know. Anyway, what was I talking about? The university, transparency. And then the person from the university was like, for everyone that had a converted room, we sent them an email before the room was converted telling them what was up. And we gave them the option to keep the room or to be put in the system for a different room. And she said we had a 100% rate of response. And so the university official is, you already knew what was up before this happened. Maybe you didn't know you were paying as much. And then they talked about another person, and that person, again, that person knew what was up, and so they decided no, and they got put back into the system. And so then it's like, maybe you thought it would be different. Maybe something happened, but it is what it is. But the only reason why I'm talking about that, because it's like price is increasing. And I was like, interesting, because I've been seeing price increasing things lately. Now, I think the interesting thing with the US dollar will be that there are a lot of countries all over the world that have done similar things to stimulate their economies and to provide for their citizens in this time where all the lockdowns and shutdowns were happening. And so whenever we saw this in the past, it was always the case of like more isolated. I don't think it's ever been the case where like so many countries all over the world were doing a similar thing. And so it's like, who does that debt go to? Whose dollar are we sort of weighing this against? Right? It's like everyone's in the same boat, and when everyone's in the same boat, I don't want to say we're going to get like a universal currency, but honestly, with the world being as interconnected as it is, with business and commerce being as interconnected and global as it is, does it make sense to have a non uniform currency? And it's like, even if the governments were different, I feel like the currency could be the same. But then I guess you would need a centralized body to print it, to keep people from just like printing a bunch of that currency in their country or whatever. So I take that back. I take it back because there was also, I think, in India, and it might have been a few years ago, they did something like that. Like they printed a bunch of money for some reason. I think it was related to illicit activity, and they put it into the economy and expected something to happen, but then something else happened or something. I don't know. It was a while ago. Anyway, so the Seeker of Wands and the Three of Wands, both of these cards are about wanting. So right off the bat, with the Seeker of Wands and the Three of Wands, it's like you're not appreciating what you already have. And when you don't appreciate what you have, you look even further outside of yourself. And again, there's this sort of difference between the currency and what backs it, and the worth of the currency and the worth of what backs it. Especially when you get into paper currency, like a $100 bill is probably physically worth the same as a $1 bill, as a $5 bill, as a $20 bill. Like it's all ink and paper, especially in the US. And I think everywhere else, not everywhere else, I can't make that statement, but in a lot of other places, it's like the difference between like coin currency and paper currency. Now the coins, since they're made out of different metals sometimes, then you can get more variety in the worth there. But when you get into paper currency, it's like you change the ink or you change how it's printed, you change the design, but the rest of it is the same. So what makes this one inherently worth more than the other one? It's like nothing. But I guess that's also not the point. But if you take 50 $1 bills versus a $50 bill, the 50 $1 bills are worth more. That's more paper, more ink, more resources versus one bill that has the same, it's backed by the same amount, but it costs more to make 50 $100 bills. Okay. I'll take 50 $100 bills. Thank you. Is that what, $5,000? Yeah, it is. But hold on, wait. 50 $100 bills. Yeah, that should be $5,000. Yeah, it is $5,000. I don't know why I just got confused. But if you take 51s, anyway, there's something here about waiting and a disparity in between worth and value. A disparity between worth and value. And I feel like there are things that we're taught to value, and we never quite ask ourselves what it's worth to us. And I think the same goes for our vision, right? Especially, I don't want to like talk bad about the education system, but especially when you like educate people, you tell them what to think. You tell them, like, if I hold this up, like, this is my phone. If I hold this up, you know what it is because you've been told what it is. And so you never quite, it's not that you don't get the opportunity to do it yourself or to, one second. Oh, duh. I was about to tell my mom that her stuff was delivered, but she literally just brought it back here, so she already knows that. Thank you for that, moment of insight, because, yeah. Oh, that smells so good. It smells so good. The value is sort of told to us, and the worth in the same time is told to us, but we get to decide what it's worth ourselves. We don't necessarily get to decide the value of something, but we get to decide what it's worth. And honestly, because I was talking about the coins, all of that, because I'm like, what do these coins mean? I'm like, why did I go this far? So we have the Three of Wands, which is, again, it's about waiting for the ships to come in. It's about doing everything that you can do, but waiting on something outside of you to get you to the next step, right? You're waiting on a resource to come in, a resource of any kind. You're waiting on a resource to come in so you can use it and move forward. Then we have the Seeker of Wands that has a top hat, I believe. with some laurels around the hat and this wand, and then we have all of these sort of droplet stars coming down. It's like, you know, a beaded curtain. Oh, it's like they have those. It's like a it's like a beaded crown, right? It's giving me very like, I think it's Chinese, where it would be like the emperor or somebody would have the crown or something, and then like there would be like beads in front of it, or maybe like a female. But honestly, it's given me the energy of like, this is interesting, and this might be why there's confusion in the bottom. But for the lesser aligned energy, I'm seeing it as questioning, because I think, see, that's why I turned this on up here. I don't know if you can see it any better, but with the seeker, it's like there's this hat with these little things falling down. I'm almost getting like, the way I initially got it was like it's marionette puppet strings, and so you put on this hat, and then like it connects to your brain, and it tells your brain what to think and what to see and what to feel, and it overrides your optic nerves, and it overrides the information that your brain gets from the optics, but it doesn't affect the eyes. It only affects the brain. So it's like, you know, if there's a cord that runs from your eyes to your brain, then it's like it puts like this converter on the cord in your brain, and then it distorts the image to get your brain to see whatever it wants your brain to see. And all of it is connected to this hat. And it's almost like someone's like, okay, you have 3 wands, but you need one more. And if you really want that 4 of wands, like, you're going to have to put on this hat if you want it. You're going to have to put on this hat if you want the 4th wand. And some people were putting on the hat. A lot of people were putting on the hat. And a lot of us didn't know better but to put on the hat, honestly. Because, you know, it's like you walk around, everyone's wearing a hat. You're born when you're 5 years old, and when your head is like, you know, not mushy, they put a hat on you. But yeah, that's what this is. And it's giving me like a kind of like the Matrix, and in other things, how it's like they'll inject people with like some little biological robot looking thing that'll like be in you, and then you like take it out. Um, it's kind of sort of like that. Or even if it's like like even if it's like a beetle that they put in you, like they put a beetle in you and then it burrows into your belly button, or it goes up your nose or in your ear or something like that, and then they put some like medicine in you and it kills the beetle, and then the beetle like runs out of your body because there's something in your system that's purging it out. So this over here, I feel like it runs the gamut. It runs the whole gamut, honestly, when it's less aligned. But I feel like it running the gamut, it's starting to like glitch people's perceptions right now. And so that could be one reason why a vision is getting distorted. It's almost impossible to receive clarity because it's like you don't know what to believe. Now over here, I have the Star and the Conqueror of Wands. We got the Page of Wands over here, and then we got the Conqueror of Wands over here, the Knight of Wands. And the Star got this big old third eye on it. This big old third eye. What else is on here? Girl, let me put it under here. Oh yeah, there's the Star. I know, it's like I need to catch light to see these cards, and I'm not. I could turn that light on, but then I feel like whenever I turn it the other way, it makes it harder. Oops, too far. There you go. Let's do these one by one. So first is the Star. You see that big old third eye down there somewhere? Right there. Looking up at the stars in the sky. Oh my gosh! And I showed y'all the Ten of Cups. There's also a third eye looking at a star in the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. And then we also have the Conqueror of Wands. I'm going to shut me back off so I can, like, use some of this space down here so I can try to catch a light. You know what? We're going to do it. I'm going to hope that I don't just, like, knock this camera down. Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, it just died. Let's see. See, now it's like right on top of it. Oh, well. Yeah, we're going to turn this back off. I'm going to figure this out one day, y'all. Well, actually, my whole setup is going to be different here soon because I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be relocating. Don't ask me where because I don't know yet, but I know it's happening. Okay? Sometimes you just know. It's fine. So I have the Star card and I have the Conqueror of Wands. So I think the Star with the Conqueror of Wands is it's able to move with that vision. So it's interesting that we got the Conqueror of Wands and the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands, because, excuse me, there's almost the Knight of Swords feeling behind this Knight of Wands, because the Knight of Swords moves forward with the truth, and the Knight of Wands typically moves based off of what it wants. But because of the Star card, it's not just a desire, it's a vision. This Knight over here is moving with the vision that it is clarifying and signifying. Over here with the Page of Wands and the Three of Wands, we can't move with that vision because it's starting to distort. But there's a clarity of vision on the other side because the Star card has its eye focused on that star. So instead of the eye being focused on sort of the world around it, it's focused on those points of light that twinkle in the sky. Right? Because something out there has to be true. And if it is the case that things on the ground are confusing, then you look for order in the stars. And the stars don't lie. The stars never lie. The stars are incapable of lying. But, like over here, the way that we're taught to look at the stars could be incorrect. Right? Because we only know that the stars are what the stars are because of what we're told, right? Let's say that, because it's like Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. It's like those are bears. How we go from a bear to a freaking ladle? Like, right? It's like that's a ladle. That's a measuring cup. That's the Big Dipper. You're telling me the Big Dipper is the Great Bear? What? That don't even make sense. How do bears and cups even like line up? Now, I'm not saying the Big Dipper ain't, what it is. I'm just saying that's one of the instances of where, like, there's some kind of discrepancy between what you're telling me, like, Canis, that's dog, Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, like the Big Bear, Great Bear, Little Bear, and, like, the Big Dipper. It's like something, I don't know how we get there. I don't know how we go from one to the other. But the stars in and of themselves never lie. And so maybe it's about pursuing a vision outside of what's outside of you. Or inside, right? Because a star, it radiates with its own light, right? And so instead of looking at the satellites that we put in the sky, it's like we're looking at the stars. But there's a clarity of vision over here because of hope, because of a truth that can cut through any darkness. And I think that's also a difference between the Page of Wands and the Three of Wands and the Conqueror of Wands with the Star. Over here, it's like we're looking for whatever truth gets us to where we want to go with this Three of Wands. We're looking for anything that gets us what we want, anything that gets us where to go. That's confirmation bias. And we're using our confirmation bias in a space of truth, thinking that it has to be true because it's what we want to be true. We're not able to separate what we want from what we actually see and perceive. Right? And I was talking about that with a friend yesterday. It's like this kind of sort of confirmation bias. It's like you cherry pick and choose which parts of the holy text, which parts of um, the program, which parts of your education, which parts of the argument you want to back and support and argue for, because it justifies the point that you're already making. And so you're forcing a context onto it to make it fit said context, to make it fit your agenda. But over here with the star and the Conqueror of Wands, it's like, regardless of if it's what I want, or regardless of if it's what I want or not, I'm going to follow this light that cuts through the dark and see where it leads me. Because ultimately what I want over here is this clarity, is this healing, is this truth. What you want over here is just a means to sort of get whatever it is that you want with that Three of Wands. Okay, I was like, that one was a little, oof, we going there, I guess. Next is clairvoyance and clarity. Clairvoyancy and clarity? Yeah, clairvoyance and clarity. So for clairvoyance and clarity, we have the Three of Swords with the Fool. The Three of Swords and the Three of Wands. The Fool, this is literally the same energy. We have a 3 with a page. We have a 3 with a Fool. And a Fool, a lot of times, is the energy of the page. And so, again, like I said up here, like I just said, we're seeking things with a very specific purpose in mind. And the purpose in mind is putting context to maybe sort of the bad in the world, right? The context is seeking something that will heal our hearts. But it's not even healing our hearts. We're seeking these substances that will fill these voids that can only be filled with emotion. Right? Physical material things can't feel and heal internal wounds. But that was the energy always over here. It was right, the cups are lacking, but the pinnacles are high. The pinnacles are right. The material is right. The cups are lacking. The emotions are lacking. The spirituality is lacking, but the physicality is high. The physicality is, it's what we're trying to want. And that's literally this energy over here. So there is no clarity. There is no clairvoyance when you're only seeing the things as you want to see them. Right? This is a pick and choose type of energy. And it's funny that the less aligned third eye is kind of sort of giving me some vibes with the less aligned throat, where it's like this energy that propagates, and it propagates the narrative that it believes in or that it needs. And I guess if that's what you're speaking, it's also what you're looking for. So I shouldn't be surprised. But yesterday it felt more self-serving. Today it feels like it doesn't know what else to do. It doesn't know any better, and it isn't looking to change either. So over here for clairvoyance, these cards are dark, y'all. Oh, well, if I actually try to look at them, then maybe I'll see them. Hold up. Oh, there we go. I was like, excuse me? So next we have the Ace of Cups and the Three of Swords. Interesting. So over here we have the Three of Swords and the Fool. Over here we have the Three of Swords and the Ace of Cups. I feel like this energy over here knows what it's lacking, and it wants that. Oh, wait. If I hold it like this. Oh! Goodness. If I hold it like this, a lot of times you can see it better. Yep, see? Here's that Ace of Cups. More or less. There we go. Here's the Three of Swords. More or less. I wish I had like an overhead light. I think I tried that one time. I think I'll try that again next time. I think that would probably actually make it easier to see, now that I think about it. So with the Ace of Cups, it's about seeking that. It's like seeking spirit first. It's going within. The Fool can go wherever. The thing about the Fool is the Fool isn't dumb or naive, but the first energy that the Fool meets is the Magician. So the literal magician could be a good magician, could be a bad magician, could be a trickster, teaches the Fool how to see, how to think, how to feel, and what to go after, right? Because the magician holds every suit. The magician holds mastery over earth, air, fire, and water. And the magician is literally the first thing that the Fool encounters. It's like the Fool in this story, it's like you have the good witch and then you have the bad witch. I don't know why I did it in reverse. So the good witch being, I guess, the witch that gives the Fool what it wants. The bad witch being the witch that doesn't give the Fool what it wants. But the bad witch is actually the good witch, and the good witch is actually the bad witch. Because, I mean, I feel like the consensus by the end of The Little Mermaid is that Ursula probably wasn't that great, right? Before it's like, wow, Ursula has given Ariel the ability to go on land, and that's what she wants. So she's fulfilling that desire, ergo, therefore she must be good. But then it's like, at what cost, right? Over here with the Ace of Cups, it's like, and it's interesting because in the Magician, the cup is actually the biggest element in that. The cup is also separate from all of the other elements in this deck. But on this Ace of Cups, we have wings at the top. And wings are young energy, swift movement, and innocence. I feel like the Fool is seeking a remedy, and the Ace of Cups is seeking the truth. And that's the difference in this clairvoyance and in this clarity. Because when you're seeking something internal, it's like it almost awakens the internal. And so then your internal, since you're looking for it, it has the opportunity to respond to what you are doing and what you're being told. But if you're seeking this sort of like, if what you're actually seeking is something outside of you, right? Like if the reason why you got into spirituality was because you want more money, or because there's somebody in your life that you want back in your life, or literally anything outside of you just wanting to get to know you and find the truth of you and be and embody who you are, and then allow everything else to come as it comes, then that's a filter that you're already putting on everything. Because again, the Fool first encounters the Magician. All of the information, instead of your information being validated against what resonates with you, your information is being validated against what's going to make me the most money, what's going to bring this person back into my life, and stuff like that. It's like you're not even giving you a chance, and that's why there's no clarity. That's why there's no clairvoyance here, because you already have that filter. When your filter is the truth, when what you're seeking is the truth for no reason outside of you getting to know you or you getting to know the truth, or for the primary purpose and the primary reason being some kind of healing, some kind of whatever, some kind of restoration, then it's like as you heal, since your chakras are a part of your body, your chakras will also heal. Your third eye will heal. Your crown will heal. Everything else will heal. So your ability to perceive the truth with this third eye will be just that. And I think that's the difference between this one. Not really, but it's like, I guess it is, because this one is primarily on seeing, perceiving your environment. And so when this is out of balance, you give up your perception. And again, up here to get what you want. You give it up to get what you want, so you see things the way that you need to get what you want. Over here, again, it was like it's focused on the star, it's focused on the light that shines through the darkness instead of the darkness that tries to swallow the light. And then it leads you inside, and your inside responds because you're looking for it. It's like this conversation that you're having. And again, it's like it's still removed from you at the beginning in some way, but there's this conversation that's happening through another person or through a device, right? Or through the mail. And it's like, yeah, another person could fudge the words. The device, you could lose connection, or the letter can get lost in the mail. Things could get lost in translation, but when you're both there, it's like even if two people don't speak the same language, they can communicate a no. And so if you know that someone is asking for something, but you don't know what they're asking for, it's like I can hold up this, like, do you want this? No, okay. Do you want this? No, okay. Do you want this? I can't even pull it out. Do you want this? No, okay. Do you want this? It's like, yes, I'm trying to change the station so you can understand me. I'm trying to find something that we both understand. It's like, oh, okay, cute, work. So you don't want an icebreaker, a charger, or, some Joy-Cons for your Switch. Did this turn on? Why did this turn on? I didn't even hold the button. It should not be on. Oh my gosh. It's fine. It got power somehow. You can still communicate and know, and that's what's going on over here. But it's not what's happening over here, because over here the internal isn't the primary that you're sort of connecting with. And so the confusion that results over here, again, is the 7 of coins. And we saw the 7 of coins yesterday. And so it's like you're putting everything into all of these areas, but not getting what you actually want. Because again, the tooth is the only thing not encapsulated by a coin. And the tooth, it symbolizes wisdom and experience. You're getting the experiences, but you're not getting the wisdom that tooth symbolizes. It's like your brain can't encapsulate it. Your brain can't because your eyes don't. And your eyes don't. It's like your eyes do, but your eyes don't because of that box, that converter that's connected to the optic nerve in your brain. And that converter is like, who cares? Who cares? Buy this, buy that, want this, want that. Everything that you need and desire is outside of you. And if everything that you desire is outside of you, it doesn't make sense to do anything on the inside, because after all, what's doing anything on the inside going to get you on the outside? Sacrifice all of the inside for the outside. Sell your soul to, the company that you work for that you don't even like, working a job you don't even like, working hours beyond the hours that you should be working with, you should be working to the point where you can't even spend time with your family. And by the time you get home, you're so burnt out from the work that you're doing that you don't even like, for money that isn't even going to things that you actually want, but it's going to the things that you're told to want. And isn't it interesting that the things that we're told to want are like some of the most expensive things out there, so that we have to work more, when in reality, what we truly actually want is all on the inside anyway. Most of what we want is on the inside anyway. There are some things on the outside that we want, like, food so that our bellies aren't empty, a home so that we're not exposed to the elements, a car for transportation, a phone and internet for connectivity and entertainment, and all kinds of stuff. A person so that we can experience love. But again, the priority should be on the inside. And so now down here for confusion, we have the strength card, which we saw yesterday. And justice, girl, we got strength and justice. I love that. I think strength and justice down here is the balance between the light and the dark, with the sun up there and the moon down here with the star down there. I feel like it eliminates confusion when you understand the wisdom of destiny, right? You don't have to be like, well, why did this happen, and why did that happen, and why do things work like that, and why do things work like this? You're able to come into the understanding of the way things work when you're not forcing things to work in a way that gets you what you want, when you're more interested in looking at the truth of things. So I guess here the question at the third eye is, what truth are you seeking and why? Because if all of the truths that you seek are related to something on the outside, or getting something on the outside, and it came up yesterday when I was talking about this me spirituality, and what can spirituality do for me? I feel like what we prioritize it has an effect on how we perceive things, and that's not surprising. Confirmation bias is real. Um, like how some people have selective hearing, you can have selective vision. Like me, with honestly, so like my eyes are whatever my eyes are, but like I don't like insects. And so there are times when I'll be walking somewhere and I don't even see the insects, because number one, I'm not trying to. Number two, my eyes are what they are. And so I'm just living my life. And I remember one day my mom asked me to grab something out of the shed, and she was like, "Be careful, there's a spider in there." And I was like, "Oh, where? Like, where is the spider?" And I know that technically a spider isn't an insect. Don't come for me. Um, I don't think. Don't come for me. But I was like, "I don't see it." And she was like, "Well, if you don't see it, then it's fine." And at first I was like, "No, it's not." But then I was like, "I guess it is." So I just went in there and grabbed it. And it's very much so that. And like you could say, "Oh, well, like if that's something in your environment that you're not seeing that is there," but I could also say that that's something in my environment that isn't there that other people are seeing and trying to project into mine. I'm not focused on the things that I don't want to see, right? And I'm not focused on the things that I do want to see. I'm focused on, or what I was focused on was getting to the truth of me. And there were things in my life that I needed to heal and accept. And that's why I got into spirituality. And then all of the other stuff sort of came after, right? Because at first, I was primarily focused on my eyes and accepting what that is. And then I mean, money became a thing when I wasn't working and I had to pay rent. But I wasn't primarily focused on like the money. I was still primarily focused on me, and I was able to pay my rent. And then when it came to relationships, I realized that there was something in me that had a fear and an anxiety around relationships, and I wanted to heal that. So again, the focus was me, and I just so happened to meet amazing people that then I wanted to incorporate into my experience. But my primary reason was the things that I needed to heal and address within myself. It was me. Now, for some people, it's like, I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of being lovesick. I'm tired of being lonely. So, you know, then they seek out religion, spirituality as a means to sort of get that and sort of put them in a space where they can receive that. I don't know. I feel like this one, I feel like I get it, but it's a little more subtle. I don't know if it'll necessarily make complete sense. So, to everyone. And again, it's like we live in a world of contradiction, like I've said before. So, contradiction and subtleties and all kinds of things. But the one thing that doesn't lie is our true intention and our true desire. And the thing that the universe reads more so than the words we speak is our desires, right? They say that the heart is 10 times as powerful as the mind. So it doesn't matter what your mind and what your tongue is saying. If your heart isn't aligned with it, the biggest piece of you isn't a part of the equation, right? But sometimes the changing of the mind precedes the changing of the heart. So, but you got to allow your heart to change, and that's why an open heart is still the most important piece. And if your heart can't open for whatever reason, it's like you're limiting yourself and your abilities and your capabilities, and it probably leads to frustration with you not getting the thing that you wanted in the first place. So it's this thing that kind of sort of impedes upon itself. So, final messages. I never read I'm going to read that. I literally just realized I never read the entry. So maybe it was important for me to have the approach that I had instead of going off of what the book says. But we'll see. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to read these out of the book. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I never read the book. So let's look at number 39. And then I got to set this thing up for my mother. Like I'm some kind of IT person. Like I'm some kind of internet technician. So the image connected here is to a violet color ray, a violet light color ray. And it's interesting that we get violet at the third eye. The celestial interpretation says, activation of the third eye portal whisks you away on an inward journey toward serenity, clarity, and expansion beyond limitation. Gain mental clarity and psychic abilities as you open up to the intuitive abilities from within your being. Interesting that, intuition, truth, and psychic were on that wisdom card attached to this third eye. Also interesting that the third eye, again, is primarily about that inward journey, so I still ended up there. And that's what all the cards were saying. It's like the cups are lacking, but as long as the pinnacles are lit, then we're okay with living with it. And that's the sort of program that we've been in, right? We prioritize the physical, the external, the appearance, our social media over how we actually feel. A lot of people, not everybody, I don't. Expand the pineal gland, call forth the abilities of all of your power centers, and gain spiritual connection and secondary sight into other realms and dimensions. And so that last piece, call forth the power from your other, call forth abilities from your other power centers. That's your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, and your throat. So you can imagine how if one of those, just like I was saying, if any of those are not in line, it's going to affect your third eye because it's going to affect your ability to perceive things. It's going to affect your intuition, and it's going to affect the truth that you're able to comprehend, right? Like if your heart is closed or effed up, then it's going to mess up, it's going to mess with your intuition, because what will happen is you'll meet someone that you can be open and vulnerable to, but since your heart isn't open, your pain is going to come in. You're going to start seeing all these red flags that may not even necessarily be red flags, and you're going to deem that as your intuition, when really your intuition is like, this person isn't like other people, or the situation isn't going to end the way other situations ended, but your pain, your past, your trauma will convince you of otherwise. If you're not speaking your truth with your third eye, you can perceive someone who speaks their truth in a negative way because they're able to do something that you're not able to do. And so from a place of insecurity, maybe jealousy and envy, and maybe even anger at yourself to not do it, but you project that anger onto them, you perceive them in a certain way when in reality that's not the case, right? If your root is messed up, girl, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If your root is messed up, I don't even know. Because your root is your foundation. So at a foundational level, if your foundation is messed up, how are you supposed to perceive the things? Right? That's like if I raise you to believe that apples are horses, oranges are cats, dogs are bananas. Like if I'm like, hey, can I get a banana? And you give me a dog, or if you're asking for a banana and you get a dog, your ability to perceive of that is messed up from the root because that's how you were raised. That's how you were conditioned to view things. Like I said earlier up here, we're taught what other things are. And if the internal isn't a part of that conversation, or if the internal isn't the primary voice in that conversation, then it doesn't have the ability. It does have the ability, but you're probably not going to trust it to tell you, hey, that's not right. Hey, that's not for me. Because again, you're trying to see or whatever confirms whatever. You're trying to get whatever confirms and lines up with whatever you already want. And again, if those other chakras aren't open or functional, it's hard to say otherwise. The oracle interpretation is, your clairvoyant, psychic, and visionary abilities are expanding and stretching right now. Own your gifts and begin activating them because they are very important for you. You need to see your situation with more clarity. To clear confusion and the quote-unquote monkey mind, engage in activities that will calm the mind and begin to refocus. Meditations will be helpful. This situation also requires activating your vivid imagination for unique solutions. The companion crystals here are purple fluorite and spirit quartz, The companion essential oil is frankincense. So let's get these final messages so I can end this. Oh, that food smells good. I don't know what's up with my smell, and it's weird. Actually, it might be the space that I'm cultivating back here. Excuse me, especially with all the readings and stuff that I'm doing. I may be like creating a little space where where my senses are heightened. Every sense except my ability to speak coherently, apparently. Because it's like I'll smell stuff better in my room than I smell it like in the kitchen, or like going closer to the kitchen, or in the hallway to the kitchen. Like I'll literally smell it like clear as day in my room, but then I go outside of my room and it's like I know I was smelling this. I was My grandma was on the home team one morning, and I heard some sizzling, and I was like, "Oh, you cooking sausage?" And she was like, "Yep." And I could smell it. I could smell the sausage. Like my brain knew. Part of my brain knew that it had to be sausage, but also like maybe since I knew it had to be sausage, I could also smell the sausage. But sometimes I get hit with smells that I can't smell. Like on my Legacy channel last night, I started smelling like fingernail polish. Or like fingernail polish remover, and I was like, every time I smell it, like my mom says she's polishing her nails, and then I talked about it, and then somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm painting my nails right now." I was like, "What?" I don't know. That's the space that I'm creating back here, I guess. And it's interesting because this space is so cluttered back here because I have more stuff than room for the stuff. So if I clear this room out, I would probably just ascend to Earth. I'd be like super lit. Okay, there we go. Girl! Okay. She fell out earlier today, too. The third eye portal. Like I said, it fell out on the table, and I was like, okay, so we'll just start. And it just came out again. Bottom of the deck this time is oneness, I think. Yeah. Oneness in reverse with the heart portal upright. I don't read any of these in reverse. Oneness is 30. It's balance, patience, and divine masculine. So with this being in reverse, it could be like either we're unbalanced and so we're unable to receive clarity. Or, well, let's line these up. We can be unbalanced, so our vision is obscured or messed with. There's no patience. We could be impatient, and so there's no clairvoyance or clarity. And then we could have an unhealed divine masculine energy that will cause us to be confused. And the confusion again will be coming now when we're starting to shift from an energy that was created by a toxic masculine energy and that thrived off of that into something that is more balanced. And then we have the heart portal right behind this. And I feel like the heart portal is about bringing this energy, this oneness, into balance and not using oneness as a scapegoat or using oneness as one of those things that align with what we want, right? It's like some people talk about oneness, so it's like, don't treat me bad or don't do this to me. If you realize that in hurting me, you're actually hurting yourself, you're not in that oneness consciousness. But it's like you're talking about oneness, it sounds like primarily to benefit you. And how are you applying oneness in your life to where you are sort of like, I don't know, looking at some of the people that you're hurting consciously or not, and how it affects them and how it's ultimately affecting you? Or the people that you're ignoring, you're not listening to, or whatever. Again, a lot of it, we're still human at the end of the day, so. Last message, please. So, like, no one's going to be perfect, but there are things that we can work on. And I feel like some people use, like, well, nobody's perfect as an excuse to continue to be trash or garbage or not improve or work on themselves. And I know, like, trash and garbage is, like, strong language, but that's, like, for people who are not great people. And then they're like, nobody's perfect, as if that's an excuse to continue to be not a good person instead of, I don't know, trying to heal or learn. And then we have the High Sage coming out. The High Sage, interesting. That High Priest. Oh, that's what we looked at for the vision, right? Is this in reverse or upright? It's upright, okay. Bottom of the deck is the Ruler of Wands, that King of Wands energy. So we have the Knight of Wands with the Star. Now we have the King of Wands with the High Priestess. It's an evolution of that energy. Now we're able to see things beyond just the stars. Now we're able to look into the darkness and see the truth of the darkness. Right? And there's also an understanding of the greater grand cosmic scheme, because we see the moon cycles, we see the light moon and the dark moon. Right? It's an understanding outside of what just serves us. And then you find out how much it actually does. But okay. So, final message from, okay, that was quick. Over here, please. Who is this? The moon. It's the moon over here. That's so interesting. The bottom of the deck over here is the tower. So we got the tower at the bottom with the moon at the top. And again, I feel like that's not being able to see past the self. Or not being able to see past, fixing the things that we think are wrong or that we want within ourselves. And it's interesting that, we elevated from looking at the star to perceiving the truth of the darkness with the Conqueror of Wands into the Ruler of Wands. But over here we have the moon. The moon being that confusion, being the veil in the dark and the things that we can't see. And again, it's like you can't see it because you don't want to see it. Either you don't want to see it or you don't care about it. Like, what you actually care about is the things that you actually care about. And you can talk to people and convince yourself, but what you can't convince of anything besides the truth of spirit. Because someone can, or spirit can look at you and see where you're, how misaligned and how aligned you are. It can read your heart. It can do all kinds of things. So, again, I don't know. I just think it's interesting that we get the High Sage over here on the more aligned third eye side. And the third eye came out again in the Oracle card. So the High Sage into the Ruler of Wands over here with that moon and the tower over here. The High Sage knows. The moon is that's where we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so confused. And it's interesting that, what was it? Was it confusion that came out? Because I went for the Seven of Cups. I think it was confusion, and then it's the moon. But I use the moon as mistrusting with the heart. So again, it goes back to that heart. So, mistrusting and confused. Maybe that's why you're confused. All right, so all the best. And again, sometimes I feel like this time, and I didn't say it today. And I realized that I didn't say it when I was about to read these cards. So it's not, I don't think it's necessarily the case this time. But on some of the last ones, we saw the less aligned side being things that maybe we were taught in the past to sort of do to get us to this point. But now it's time to go beyond this point. And so what we used to get here, the prerequisite classes that we took, we need to build upon that information now, right? That's that information isn't good forever. That information was good to get us out of the misinformation that we were in, but now it's time for that information to build upon itself. And sometimes that's what the lesser aligned versus the more aligned side is. Sometimes the more aligned side seems a little counterintuitive, and the lesser aligned side seems like what we should be doing. But this time looks and even I think yesterday with the throat, it's the lesser aligned is lesser aligned. It's more self-serving. So, yeah. All right, so I'm going to catch y'all later. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the next day. Who knows? I'm going to go try to eat some of this delicious smelling food, and I'm going to set up this box for my mom. So, catch y'all later. Bye. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.